So I invite you all, if you're online and watching us there, to put something now in the chat, or on Zoom, put something in the chat if you can. And if you're here in the sanctuary, I hope you've written something on your note, and I'm going to ask Ren to come around, and we are going to do a little collection here, and I'd love your answers. Okay, so we're just trying to think of things that are special about you that maybe everybody else in this room does not know. So my partner Todd is watching the chat on the Facebook page, and Dan is watching the chat in the Zoom page, and they're going to hold on to answers because I don't want anybody to reveal who you are. Okay. Well, I don't know who was your first music teacher. I don't know who was, where your first song you ever played, for some instrument you played that we don't know. I don't know, all kinds of things. What you had for dinner last night, And then I need some help probably from Noah. Because I want to. Noah, do you have a favorite superhero? Who is that? Captain America. Great. Do you know his real identity? It's a secret, right? Does anybody know who Captain America's real identity is? Oh, mom does, yeah, or grandma does. Steve Rogers, right, exactly, right, who knew, right, okay. Who else has a secret, what other superhero has a secret identity? Batman, yes, movie's coming out, this is not a plug, I'm not remunerated for this. Do we know Batman's real secret? Oh, Amy knows, go find out from Amy. Yes. All right, Bruce Wayne is Batman's secret identity. Any other superheroes with a secret identity? Oh, Superman. What's Superman's real identity? No names. Clark Kent is Superman's real identity. Okay. How about the Hulk? Yes. Wow, you are good, Amy. I wish I had prizes for this. Oh my goodness. Yes? Iron Man, very good. Who's Iron Man? Yes, Tony Stark. Exactly. All right, you guys are good. Okay. No, nobody's gonna do. No. Spider-Man. Who's Spider-Man? Peter Parker. Wow. All right. You're doing great, but I have a question. Why do they have secret identities? Why do we not know who they really are? Right, because they wear masks, right? Yep. And if somebody found out that young Peter Parker was really Spider-Man, what do you think his friends would think? If you went up to your friends and said, I can actually I can climb walls and I have spider webs and all this stuff, what would your friends think of that? What? They'd be scared. They'd be scared of you, right? If they really knew what your big secret power was, right? The other thing they might do is they might think of, because what superhero do you want to be? Iron Man. Cool. Why? What's so cool about Iron Man? He certainly can. He has that cool suit on, right? He can do all kinds of stuff. All right. So if you could fly, maybe your friends would want you to fly them up places all over the place. And you'd be like running a flying taxi service all day long. And that'd be kind of exhausting. So, no, but it'd be fun, right? It's cool to have a secret identity. All right. Thank you, champ. Very cool, very cool, very cool. The problem with secret identities, though, is that then people want to take advantage of what that secret power is. Or people would be afraid of how it would be used. Or people would think that you deceived them and lied to them all this time, and they wondered if they could trust you. Or they get greedy and they want some of that power or some of what you can accomplish for themselves and their own purposes. And all these folks had a greater mission. And it's hard to, each one of them kind of struggles with that identity. And we come to this story that Christianity has called the transformation of Christ. And it's got everything that a superhero story has, it needs, right? We got voices, and we got lightning, and we got dazzling, cool clothes, and we have shrouded in clouds and mystery, and just 3 folks get to witness the whole thing, and then there's the whole secret. Because Peter, James, and John don't say a thing about this experience that they had with Jesus. But Jesus, from that moment on, it's a turning point, which is why this is always the story on the last Sunday of Epiphany before you and I turn towards Easter. Because this is the turning point when Jesus is now resolute. This is his purpose. This is his reason for being. This is his goal and his vision and his mission in life. And he can't let anyone, including his closest friends and disciples, dissuade him or distract him from what he has to do. Luke tells us that now he goes towards Jerusalem. The conversation he had with Moses and Elijah, the 2 great prophets of the ancient scriptures, the prophet and the law, all of it pointing towards this one mission and purpose. And we talked about purpose a couple of weeks ago, wondering what is your purpose? What is your vision? What is your goal? What is your hope? And it's all wrapped up in who we understand ourselves to be and how much of that we reveal to the world and people around us. Amy.
I have a question. How do you know what your purpose is? Like, how long does it take? When I'm 47 and not getting any younger, I mean, I'm artistic and creative, but what do I do with the rest of my life?
I think a clue, that's a perfect question. That's a great question. I think a clue comes to us. This is the 3rd time that we have seen Jesus spend the night in prayer. Or the 2nd of 3. It was 3. Because it was the time before the temptation. It was the time before he chose the disciples. Now it's this time before he goes on this mission. And I think it is a constant revelation and a becoming awareness of our purpose. It changes or it deepens throughout our lives. But sometimes we have to take that time away and hunker down and settle in and quiet all the other voices. Because we see even at this point, Jesus didn't do this with the 5,000 that had been there on the plain during the sermon. Jesus didn't even do this with the hangers-on or even with the other of the 12. Jesus picked only 3 whom he could trust, who he could hope would not ridicule him, would not distract him, who would at least stand with him. And so I think that's another clue to us. We need the time away, we need the time of quiet, and we need trusted companions, trusted counselors, people who are wise, people who are faith-filled, and people who will be honest with us, and to find folks that we can go forward with. Maybe we have 3, maybe we have 1, maybe we have none, and it is only God and our own spirit that we can go preciously with who we really are and be honest about our true identity and our true mission and our purpose. Because there are many people in the world for whom their true identity is not acceptable to the rest of society, They are marginalized because of their poverty, because of their living situation, because of their education, because of the color of their skin, because of their age, be it very young or very old, because of physical challenges and limitations, because of the place and the zip code where they live, because of their identity, their orientation, their sexuality, their gender. People's real identity is sometimes something that others put them in a box and refuse to allow them. And Jesus was, I was going to say afraid, but I will say concerned about that. Because everybody else, did you notice that this passage started with a little 8 days later? Don't you hate that when movies start out 2 weeks? Like, it drives me. Well, so we drop in on this passage. Well, wait a minute. Can we back up? What happened 8 days later? And it's interesting, the other two gospels talk about 6 days later. But anyway, what happened? Peter declared that Jesus was the Messiah. That's what happened. So this was the second look at that. The problem is that everybody else had their opinion of who the Messiah was supposed to be. Not the name, not that it was Jesus or James or Mary, but the Messiah was supposed to do certain things. They had expectations of this Savior of the world. And I'll tell you right now, Jesus didn't save the world. Obviously. It's a mess. It ain't done. But Jesus' mission was to bring salvation to peoples, to individuals, and to groups, and to whoever would come to be part of the movement of liberation and hope and freedom and acceptance and love and transformation that Jesus was about. And that vision and purpose has not stopped. But it goes on in the hearts and the minds of free-loving people. It goes on in the hearts and the minds of people struggling to be themselves and to be honest with the world. 2 times I came out with a true identity in my life. The first time was about as a 15-year-old. I had been active in community, in school, and in church. And I came to my dad and I said, Dad, I think God is calling me into the ministry. And my father was actually crestfallen. He was shaken. He was nervous. The only child, the only son, and from an Italian family, they needed a priest, so I would have thought that would have been a good idea, but I think they wanted a doctor, which is what Grandpa was on the other side. And doctors have great helping, but they also make decent money. And that's what it was. My father was crestfallen because he said, that will be a noble profession. That will be a time of service and of giving. And he also knew, as the son of immigrants who busted his tail and worked several jobs and worked really hard and was sending his kid off to college and was making the American dream, that the economics of the next generation probably was not going to continue to increase. And that it's a challenging profession. It's rewarding. Wow, absolutely. But it is draining, and it is giving, and it challenges your family. And I think he saw that. He changed, and as things went on, was totally thrilled and happy and proud beyond belief. Absolutely. The second time I came out with a true identity was coming to Dad and saying, Dad, this marriage thing, this straight acting thing ain't me. I'm queer, I'm gay, I love a guy, what can I say? And I think the same thing happened to him because he knew, even if he and Mom probably already knew, it was not going to be easy. It was going to be hard to go forward in the world and be true to me. And for each one of us, To be true to who we really are can be difficult because the world is not always greatly affirming of our first artistic endeavor, of our first job, of our first writing, of our first creating something and playing something, our first thought that we share with everybody else. So easily gets knocked down and annihilated, and we get dissuaded from it. And the great light that God has put in your lives can get blown out so easily by the world. Anybody remember Barbra Streisand in the movie Yentl? That was a long time ago. She did a lot of movies. Not a lot of people remember this. In that movie, she portrays a young conservative Jewish girl, the son of a very devout father. The very understanding where women and men were separated in the congregation. She loved learning from her dad. She devoured the Torah and the scriptures. She learned all of the prayers. She could recite everything like the rabbi could, but she was not allowed. She was not even supposed to know how to read and how to write. She and her dad, and finally when he died, she cuts her hair. She wraps herself up tight. She pretends to be a boy so she can go to school, to be her true self, which is a child of the law, of the Torah, of the scriptures, to be a learned person. She had to change and create a new identity. The big reveal in the Transfiguration is that Jesus finally said, yes, this is what I'm here for. To, like in the next story, help parents who are struggling and not knowing what to do with their children, who are having such a hard time in life. And he comes and brings comfort and encouragement and attention and care. When everybody else just threw up their hands and didn't know what to do and didn't know how to help. And Jesus was there. So, who are you? And what gifts and talents and dreams and blessings and vocations and purpose has come to you? So do we have anybody in the chats? Not on Facebook? Anybody share anything on screen? Okay, cool. We've got some. Oh, all right, Dinah. So you were born at home in your house in Benson, not in a hospital. And wow, cool. Did anybody know that about Dinah, that she was not born at home? All right, cool. True identity? Neat. Thanks, Dinah. Really appreciate that. All right, now let's see if we can play this little game here. True identity is my contacts don't work. I was taught by professionals how to ride a mechanical bull. Any guess as to who that might be? Ren says no. You can have one more guess. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Will the real bull riders stand up? Okay, he wins things. He won this whole trip to the professional bull riders thing in, where were we? Charlotte, North Carolina, whatever. I mean, two queer boys going down to a professional bull riders thing. I was so scared in my life. My gosh. But these guys were great. They put him on a mechanical bull. We did all kinds of things. We went down to the arena. We met them all. It's really neat. I am a Vietnam era veteran. Any guesses? Thank you for your service. And glad you came home. All right. I collect coffee mugs even though I don't have room. Well, now none of us have room for the coffee mugs, but okay. I collect coffee mugs even though I don't have room for them. Oh, I think I know the answer to this, but I'll be quiet. Any guesses? Is it Linda? No? Okay. Amanda. Oh, okay. All right. I was in a school play, The Wizard of Oz, and played one of the monkeys. The tall guy played one of the monkeys? All right, neat. How fun. I'm sorry, I'm not reading that one because I can't. I'm sorry about that. Okay, someone describes themselves as artistic and creative, generous, overly kind, and can be a pushover. Amy?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, cool. I'm intrigued to see what the artistic part is all about. Oh my goodness, the first job I had was an exterminator. An exterminator? A bug. Am I reading it right? Wow. You are in the company of a fellow who became a Navy SEAL, a Army Ranger, has run multiple marathons and was like a 400-pound exterminator going out to start. David Goggins. His stuff is pretty raw. He uses a lot of vocabulary, but it's rather inspiring. He's insane. Anyway, David Goggins. Todd.
Our first home after we were married was a trailer that was sold to the Lake Placid Olympics.
Oh my gosh, Ren. How cool is that? Oh my goodness. Somebody in here likes to sing Christmas carols. Cynthia?
Is that what you wrote?
Did you write that? Maybe? Anybody else fessing up to it?
No.
Somebody is knitting again. Are you volunteering that it's you? Yeah, I thought, is what you're wearing one of yours? Oh. All right, very cool. Oh. Somebody's celebrating a big birthday in November. 80. So is that Cynthia? God, no. Cynthia. You have a birthday coming up, Cynthia? Very cool. Awesome. Well, we'll have to get ready for your birthday. We are forewarned. We just went to see the movie Dog, which I would recommend to you if you get a chance, besides it's Channing Tatum. The story revolves around, one, it's amazing that two characters hold the whole story and do it well. One is Briggs, and he is an ex-Army Ranger whose buddy has just died, probably by his own hand. And is dealing with the PTSD of coming back from that service and all he has seen and not knowing what to do with his life and wondering if there's any purpose. And he's given a chore to take the dog that was the Army companion of his now lost friend to his friend's funeral from Washington State to Southern California. The dog is insane. If you've seen any of the trailers, the dog is muzzled. He is attacking everything. He's just gone crazy since the death of his master. And the two of them are traveling in this Jeep Suburban all the way down there and get into all kinds of trouble. But they both have to come to terms with who they really are and what's really happened. And they need to make a choice, whether their lives are going to go on or whether they're not. And who they are, no matter what anybody else says, no matter what has happened to them, no matter what tragedy and loss they have experienced, they need to dig deep within their soul and they find it together. That's as far as I'll go. You should see it. And that's our call. Because when we do that deep seeking of the soul like Jesus did, it may not be a shining light. It may not be a voice from heaven. It may not be fog and mist. But that assurance that God looks at you and says, you are my child. You're the one I chose. In another gospel, it says, you are my beloved. And then lastly, to everybody else, the voice of God says, listen to them. Which to you and to me says, you have something to say. You have something to share. You have something to give that the world desperately needs for its own salvation. Because you see, the work of Jesus continues, obviously needed in our world today. Will we save the entire planet? Any one of us? Probably not. Our chore is to step forward resolutely toward our mission and purpose, one step in the other, and create a community around us, like those three that Jesus gathered around him. We need to be that for each other and affirm who God has made you to be, what gifts and surprises of identity that God has made for you. And maybe we do, like my dad, we say, that might be a little challenging, might be difficult, might be hard, but it's better to be true to you and who you have been created to be, because the world needs you. Whether you're going to be 80 or 8, the world needs you because you have a special mission. And the invitation is during these 40 days of Lent to dig down into that mission, that purpose, that identity that is you especially you, and be in this world today the gift that God is waiting for the world to find and to be revealed, to come out as you and be transformed.